G'day, and welcome to another edition of Lanark County Confidential. I think I messed that one up again just a bit, but we'll see how it comes out. Anyways, welcome to Lanark County Confidential. I'm your host, Mike Lynch Staunton, and we are being broadcast on WRVO Radio, a division of Reno Viola Outdoors. WRVO Radio Network is a fishing and outdoors radio network created by Reno Viola. It has a pretty cool lineup here, including such things as Angler and Hunter Radio, Bluefish Radio, the BS session. That's hard to say really fast, first thing in the morning. The BS session with Mike and Scott, Fish Talk Radio, Hooked for Life, Lanark County Confidential, Nothing But Outdoors, The Outdoor Journal, The Outdoor Radio, Politically Incorrect Redneck, Reno Viola In Depth, Fish Cast, the first cast, sorry, The Real Addiction, The Tackle Box, and Up the Creek with George Pern. Pretty diverse. And you can listen to that on Shoutcast, or you can go to Reno Viola Outdoors, or you can go to TuneIn Radio. Those are apps for your cell phones. And I just basically go to the website, WRVO Radio, and click on listen to the radio, the live thing, and do my internet stuff, and listen to everybody talk about the BS of fishing and outdoors and all the rest of that. Today's show, anyways, is I'm a bit peeved. Maybe can't tell it from my voice, but I've been changing my attitude lately. But anyways, I'm a bit peeved for one reason, and that's because I've been for the last couple of years. Well, I'll tell you about this. I should say one more thing here. I actually got a new sponsor this for the next 4 podcasts, and I have to say something about them, and that's March Road Motorsports, and they're a new player in town type thing. They're just outside Almont, on, I forget the name of that road. Anyways, it's if you're going out of town type thing, and you're going towards Arnprior on Highway 7, the turnoff for Almont. Just before you get to Almont, on the right-hand side is going to be March Road Motorsports. Its owner is Jeff Robertson, who's he's gotten out of the farm business, and he used to own JRs in Almont, and now his sons are seriously into motocross racing, so he's decided to put his efforts into that. He's got a really good store manager there, Brian Dolan, store manager and sales guy. Very knowledgeable man. We got a guy named Norbert Frank at the parts counter doing service and parts, and Norbert's been in the industry. If anybody's been around motorcycles and snowmobiles and marine, he's been in the industry for a long time, a lot longer than me. And I remember seeing him years ago back in the pit around Albion Road, Conroe Road, actually. That's the first time I met him. So anyhow, Norbert's doing service and parts. We got this very knowledgeable small engine mechanic there called Ricardo Bohm, and he's top notch as well too. I've been helping out there on a part-time basis just to get them going and stuff like that, and we'll see where this leads to. But I got to say they're doing it right. They've got some knowledge. It's not something where you go in and you talk to somebody who's only been there for a couple of years or knows nothing really, basically. So, and he's doing a lot of stuff, full range of service, CF Moto, four-wheelers, some news in the works. I can't say anything right now. But if you're looking to get your stuff serviced, or you're looking for a motorcycle, or you're looking for a snowmobile, he's got some used consignment stuff in there. If you're looking for a tractor, he's selling LS tractors. And every once in a while, he gets some interesting stuff in there. So give it a try. 613-256-MOTO, or that's 6866, I believe it is, or something like that. So anyways, they're located at 4692 March Road, Mississippi Mills, Ontario, KOA 1AO. 613-256-6686, or go to the website, March Road Motorsports. So anyways, on to my rant. And my rant this week is about the decline in bees. Some people calling it colony collapse, CCD. Some people calling it just, normal natural stuff. Some people not even calling it anything at all. And that's usually the pesticide makers and stuff like that. So why I'm interested in this, and why I think everybody should be interested in this, and why I'm just going to take this, and sorry Reno, but I think this needs to go out to everybody who's a fisherman, who's an outdoors person, who's a human being on this planet, because Einstein once said that if we don't have bees, you won't have the human race within 4 years, and I got to tend to believe I think he's right. So and we shouldn't be right in hindsight. So proactive, I think, is a better approach than being reactive, but that's just my way of thinking. So, but why am I so pissed off? And I think that's probably the harshest word I'm going to use today, is about the decline in bees. Well, last year, through a friend, I became an apiarist, which is a beekeeper. And just from 1 year of being a beekeeper, I've grown a large appreciation for this tiny insect, what it can do, what it can provide, just what it is, how it goes about its whole life process, and how one little bee starts off as an inside worker, and then gradually over a 3-month period, basically, because they only live about 3 months. Some of them last, so and they grow through this life cycle to become an inside worker, to become an outside worker, and go collect pollen. And actually, the bees that are out there collecting pollen and pollinating the plants and stuff like that are the oldest bees, and those are the ones that are going to die first. So those are the bees that you don't really want to kill. The nurse bees are the young, inexperienced bees, and they haven't been out of the colony. So. And it's a pretty interesting society, if you want to call it that, for want of a better term, because what ends up happening is a queen, just to go through some of the, not scientific stuff, but just some of the stuff, anyways, if people aren't aware of it. A queen lives anywhere between 4 to 5 years. She produces... I gotta get this right. A lot of eggs a day, maybe 1,000 eggs a day, and this is from the time she starts laying. Now, she's not laying all the time. She's only laying in the warmer months and stuff like that. So, but what she does is she provides if it's a good colony, and then she's going to provide a lot. So. Of eggs. Anyways, a colony can be 20, 30,000 bees. So, and they die off at a varying rate. So she's constantly producing larvae, and these larvae take, I think, 9 days for them to hatch out, and then a certain period of development and all the rest. So it's a process. It's like an assembly line. So it starts with the queen. If you have a good, strong queen, you have a good, strong colony. It's like anything. It's like families and life and stuff like that. Good, strong leaders in the family, good, strong family, It leads on from that. So, and what what beekeepers have been doing over the years is they've been breeding in certain qualities that they find from certain bees. Basically, there's maybe about 6 or 7 different varieties of bees, honeybees that are used in making honey. So, and don't get me wrong here, there are plenty of other bees out there that do pollination. There's flies out there that pollinate. There's wasps out there. There's a myriad of insects that do pollination. I can go out in our field and look at the goldenrod, and there's wasps going from one to the next to the next. They're doing the same thing, I believe. They're getting pollen. I think they get some nutritional value from it as well, too. So, but this leads all into why there's such a decline in bees, and it's based on how our society is going, and it's got to do with genetically modified foods. It's got to do with systemic insecticides. It's got to do with how large companies that are producing monoculture seeds and are doing it based on profit have in the long run lost sight of what they're doing in the short term. And what's happened is, and I've been doing a lot of research. Not a lot of research on it, but I've been checking over. When I saw my buddy's first hive, I sat down and I started doing some looking into this and stuff. And so I'm not just doing this. This is not just all of a sudden I got a funny feeling in my buttocks and I decided to get off my ass and say something about it. I've been wanting to say something about this for a while, but I think it's come to the point now. There's a Time article, so more and more people are going to become aware of it. Obviously, even though the internet can't spread it enough, there's enough documentaries out there. There's enough, 60 Minutes articles or videos that are 5-6 years old. So this is not something that's just occurring today. This has been going on for a number of years, and it's a problem that hasn't been addressed. It's like bullying, but guess what? If we don't have bees, there won't be any bullying. So, you can pick which one you want to do first. So, which one's more important? I think, anyways, and I think taking care of the bee issue is a bit more important than. Now, don't get me wrong. The beaver's going to get all pissed off because of the media attention. Just lately. So anyways, but I was bullied when I was growing up and I took care of it myself. So what can you say at that point? Just some people don't want to take personal responsibility for themselves, I think, sometimes it's hard, but it's just not a rant about bullying. This is about the loss of bees and why we've got a loss of bees and stuff. So I'll do a bullying rant next time. Anyways, getting back to where I was, what's happened is why honeybees. A lot of things have been affecting honeybees in the past. Varroa mites, this Noseum virus. Now, what ends up happening is in a monoculture, the nutrients have all been stripped out of this stuff. Monocultures don't have the diversity in the pollen for the bees. The other thing, too, is if there's a systemic insecticide, which means the systemic insecticide, and this is what everybody should understand as well, too, about GMOs and stuff like this, okay? This is the lowdown on it, okay? I produce a seed, and this seed is resistant to my insecticide, okay? Now, this is how weird and twisted and Frankensteinish this gets, okay? But this is how these people think. Okay, so I have this seed and it's resistant to my insecticide. Why? Because I've genetically modified this seed with a systemic. Remember that word, systemic. That means it's in the system of the seed. It's systemic. It goes all through this. It goes all through the seed. It's not like the seeds that we. And I'm a farmer, so I'm not a farmer, but I grow stuff, so I know the difference between a seed that's coated with an insecticide to help it get through a certain period, as opposed to a seed that has systemic insecticide inside it. And that's the problem, because these genetically modified foods have systemic insecticides. They've been genetically modified to resist the insecticide that's going to get dumped on them. That kills frickin' everything. And then they have to throw this fertilizer on top, because there's nothing there for the plant to eat except for this one fertilizer, okay? And then you grow this and you process it, but the systemic stuff is called systemic for a reason. It's because it's inside the plant. It doesn't come out. It gets processed, but who knows what it gets processed into? You wonder why. There's this increase in, the rate of cancer, increase the rate of this, increase the rate of that. Well, it may be because there's been a change in your food, in the way that it's been made, in the way that it's been grown, in the way that it's been produced, that is leading to these off down the yellow brick road, okay? And I call it the yellow brick road. Why? Because it's a yellow brick road for the corporations for profit. It's their yellow brick road. It's not yours. Your road is going to be into the hospital, which is another yellow brick road for another industry, the healthcare system, who doesn't really give a rat's ass they only care whether you're sick. They don't care whether you're well. They don't make money off you if you're well. So it's not a matter of prevention. It's just a matter of fixing it. We've changed our societal aspect. The compass point is not pointing in the same direction it used to point years ago. So what happens to the bees? Well, the bees go out and they pollinate certain plants, and when they pollinate these plants with systemic insecticides, these systemic insecticides, what happens is it affects their neural thinking, because that's what it does. These nicotinoids that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to affect the neural thinking of the insects that get on the plant, and the bees just don't make it back to the hive. So the bees are, say, we get 1,000 or 2,000 bees go out, boom, they don't make it back. And then yada, yada. So slowly the hive gets depleted, or the workers that do get back, they're all messed up. They get, because they're weaker when they get back, they're more prone to get diseases. So, if there's mites in the hive, that's what's going to affect them. Yeah, so on and so forth. So it's like anything. When you're stressed, apparently you're more prone to get cancers and stuff like that. So if that's the case, we don't need our food system, which we need in order to eat, and we need the bees because they do the pollination. And there's two types of bees out there. There's honeybees out there, and then there's bees that are just designed to pollinate, and you get no honey from them. And both of them are dying. It doesn't matter. There's no difference between one or the other. There's and it's big industry. This pollination industry is a big industry in the States and stuff like that. So you've got guys that have bee yards in Florida, and they will drive their bees to California to pollinate almond trees over the wintertime. And then what they'll do is they'll drive them to Connecticut and Vermont and areas like that, where they'll do blueberries and cranberries and stuff like that. So, and then they'll bring them back to Florida for the off season, or they'll, maybe they've got someplace else that they'll do another pollination run. But that's how it's done. On the big scale. On the small scale, like I'm doing, I'm just producing my own honey, and honey for, I'd like to get bigger. Honey's great. More people should be, especially if you got inflammation or you've got some arthritis or whatever. Because I didn't go to my doctor for a while. I had to reintroduce myself to the healthcare system, so I haven't been back to my rheumatologist. I needed some anti-inflammatories. I didn't get them, so I've just been using my own honey from my own hive and I've gone off my anti-inflammatories after 25 years. And that's not some kind of sales pitch on the shopping channel or Saturday morning TV or whatever. This is not a paid political, or this is not a paid announcement. That's just from me going, geez, what happened? Well, what happened, I think, is my body chemistry was off. I didn't have some of the nutritional stuff that I should be getting from the food, and I'm getting it now from the honey, and actually from the maple syrup that I'm producing as well too. So, same thing. My wife is getting some relief from, as well, from some of the arthritis that she's developed over the years as well. So, my allergies are less. We've got big hayfield out there, goldenrod, all sorts of other stuff. And I used to be devastated in this time of year, or actually all during the summer, being so close to the hayfield, and it's gone. And that's one of the other things with honey is what's happening is store-bought honey is not the same as honey, unpasteurized honey produced by local guys. And what I'm saying is local is local. You got to go out and find a local guy. You can't. Honey is great, but the stuff you buy in the store, just use it for cooking. Don't use it. You're not going to get the same relief. You're not going to get the same quality. It's not the same quality of honey as you would get from a local producer doing it unpasteurized. I don't filter my honey. There's comb in it still, and there's pieces of there's pieces of wax and stuff like that from it. So, but that's good because that comb has antibacterial properties to it. I'll give you a little, for instance here. I made up, I don't know how many months ago, a mason jar. And what I did was I took some rolled oats and I put them in the oven, and I baked them at 400 degrees to get them dark and crispy, and not crispy, but I didn't burn them, but I darkened them type thing. And I took some almonds and I took some hemp seed, and I took a mason jar and I poured honey and the oats and the nuts and the hemp seed in there in a varying amounts until I got, a thick sort of pasty, what I would call a nature bar consistency, okay? And this is about a 500 milliliter mason jar, maybe 750 milliliter, about 500 milliliter mason jar. It's 3 months old. It hasn't gone bad, and it doesn't go bad. And you can sit there and you can eat it, you can munch on it, and it just doesn't. Honey doesn't go bad. It doesn't create bacteria in it. It doesn't. It's the ultimate in preservatives. I don't know why we don't use it more, other than the fact that some chemical company has come up with this marvelous chemical called preservation chemical, and I can use it in your food and you'll buy it that way, and we can make money off of it. If we used honey, you wouldn't need that chemical. You'd probably get the benefits of the honey, and you'd be healthier. And guess what? You may not get cancer from that preservative. I don't know. It's all supposition, but don't get me wrong here. A lot of what we produce and how we produce our food is one of the reasons why, as a society, we're so ill. Obviously, the obesity rate is an indication of that, so I don't have to go any further on that one. Anyways, the bees, it's an issue. Why is it an issue? Because we have no bees, we have no pollination, we have a lack of honey. And here's the problem with the store-bought honey, and that's what I was getting to. It's filtered, okay? It's clear for a reason, because it's filtered. Everything's filtered out of it. The pollen is the DNA of the honey. So the pollen, that stuff, those all bits and everything like that the bees process and make into their honey and stuff like that. Royal jelly is apparently really good as well too, very expensive. So there's a lot of stuff. The propolis is good as far as healing qualities and stuff. So bees do nothing but produce healthy stuff for us. So I don't know why we're beating them up, and I don't know why we're bullying them. So and there's companies like Monsanto. And and Bayer, and maybe I shouldn't be mentioning names, but it doesn't matter. They're in the news. You can just go Google this stuff. It's not. I'm not singling them out, and this is not just some BS session that Bayer's been Bayer's been banned in Europe for 2 years now, or their pesticide, their systemic insecticide stuff that they've been using, their nicotinoids that they've been using is being banned because obviously there's some issues with it. So, and that's not me making up BS. This is reportable news. This is no supposition. This is not just an opinion. This is facts that I've read and found out. Just Google the decline in bees and look at the documentaries on it. Look at the American producer there. That he's incredible amount. One guy, he basically burned all his hives. He went out of business. And it's good for the Chinese. Why? Because they're the largest producer of honey in the world. And what happens, this is what I'm getting back to. This is my big rant here, okay? And this is why you don't buy store-bought honey, and this is why you go to a local producer. So stay away from this store-bought honey crap unless you're just going to use it for cooking, because it's no different than buying sugar. It's no different than sugar. What happens is they filter it so it's clear for a reason. The pollen is the DNA of the honey. It tells anybody who can figure it out where that honey comes from. If it comes from China, there's a duty on honey from China into the United States. So what ends up happening is they have to pay a tax to export to the U.S. because why? Because there's protectionism out there, and we don't want our bee producers to go out of business from importing cheaper honey. So what the Chinese do is they send it through Indonesia and Malaysia, and this is all documented facts. This is not bullshit. This is all out there. You can find it. And so what ends up happening is they export it through a second party, and it gets into the United States in big containers, and then the local honey or the mass-produced honey from the big honey producers in the U.S., it's all diluted with Chinese honey. So there you go. And like I say, if it's clear, there's nothing in it. So you want the opaque, dark-colored honey. Even the dark-colored honey, if it's clear, it's been filtered. So, but you want honey from a local producer. You need to get out in your car and drive out to the local. Like Lanark County, I don't care where you live, just go and find a local honey producer and buy honey off of them and give it 2 months and tell me if you don't feel better. And I'm talking, use honey every day, 2-3 teaspoons in your tea, or, I do it in my oatmeal every morning. I have a big bowl of oatmeal with almonds and raisins and hemp seed and two big heaping teaspoons of honey. And that's my morning breakfast, and I'm good, until about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I have a snack all day long, basically. So, we'll see how long I live. Anyways, that's my rant on bees. I could go on. I really enjoy beekeeping. I think it's cool. I think it's something that everybody should partake in, even if you just did one hive per year. You could, for a very small outlay of money, and getting to a club or, this Lanark Beekeepers Association we're joining this year, get into something like that, a local beekeeping association, meet all the rest of the people in it, and, do yourself a favor. It's something that I think you'll appreciate, and it's not a big outlay of money. It's very, for the kids, it's something they can learn. Don't be afraid of the bees now. If there's a problem with getting bee sting, obviously you got to check that out first, but most people aren't affected by bees, but if you are, then obviously, it's something I think you should stay away from. So, but anyhow, I got to wrap this up. I got to get going. My rant on, my second rant is going to be on young female drivers out there who think they can talk on the cell phone, smoke cigarettes, and do makeup all at the same time. You can't, okay? You're all over the road. And I should just start writing down license plate numbers and broadcasting them, because that's ridiculous, man. I've seen so many, and trust me, there's a lot of idiot drivers out there. There's idiot drivers my age out there. There's idiot drivers everybody's age out there, okay? But for some reason, over the last little while, over the last year or so, I've been seeing a lot of young female drivers I got to believe the age between 18, 19 to about, 28, 29 even, who think they can do their makeup, their hair, talk on the cell phone, smoke a cigarette while they drive with their knee. Now, trust me, I did the same thing when I was younger as well, too, and it was just as dangerous back then as it is now. So, word of advice, continue it if you want. I don't care, really. But when I get behind you, I'm going to pass you, so don't try and push me off the road because you're trying to drive with your knee. Second thing is, and this is what I love with the guys that are doing it, how they lean over and it looks like I'm not really talking on this. Man, cell phone use in driving is, come on. I guess it's just two rants. It's the cell phone use, and it's driving using cell phones, and it's the young girls who are doing everything. They're trying to prove how what's that word I'm looking for? Multitasking they are. Multitask before you get in the friggin' car. Drive the car to where you gotta go, and then multitask afterwards. Please don't endanger me while you're doing your frickin' multitasking, okay? I don't appreciate it. So, anyhow, that's I guess what I'm gonna rant about on that one. So, anyways, what I would like to say right now is I got out fishing. I pulled a tendon. The arthritis causes tendons to get pulled as you get older, so pulled a tendon that holds the bicep, major bicep to my right arm. So for a while I couldn't even lift my arm up past my shoulder, and one way I couldn't lift it up at all. So, but I got out fishing before that, so that's taken me out for the last week and a half. But I got fishing out on Big Rito with a buddy who's doing a local tournament. He didn't fare too well, but I guess he didn't use the ninja jigs. I'm in the process of editing this video. It's quite extensive, so it's a lot. We did about 4 hours worth, so there's a lot of video to go through. But I was using my ninja jigs, and they're working great. A lot of good fish, a couple of big ones as well too. So and that's, like I said, Gambler ninja jig. It's my go-to jig. I throw it probably 80-90% of the time, and it probably catches 80-90% of my fish. So I can't say too much more about that other than it's great. Anyways, yeah, that was my rant. That was my fishing report. Well, the fishing report was we were on Big Rito, and this was before the Renegade tournament. So Reno, I should have told you about this. We were whacking the smallies out in the shoals, and they were anywhere between 6 to 8 foot of water out in the shoals, and I was just, they weren't devastating them, but I don't know, I probably caught, I'm not going to say. Anyways, caught a lot of smallies there. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. So, anyhow. So, do what you can. Become a beekeeper. Everybody should. Write your local insecticide person and tell them that you don't like what's going on as far as what's happening to the bees. Join some Facebook pages, March Against Monsanto, Help the Bees and stuff like that. Jimmy's Bees, that's a group what my buddy started. So anyways, I gotta go. Gotta go walk the dogs, gotta do a bunch of stuff, and enjoy this little talk we had today. Remember, Reno Viola Outdoors, it's the best place to listen to fishing and outdoors radio. Marsh Road Motorsports, if you need something serviced or you gotta buy a motorcycle or you need a tractor, go in and see Jeff and Brian. Anyhow, I'm off. We'll talk to you next week.